Welcome back. You're still watching the daily debate, as we did see after the report and the extension or the efforts to be extending the 4-day truce in Gaza between the Israeli forces and Hamas. According to the efforts of the Egyptian diplomacy, we have seen afterwards the biggest aid convoys coming from Egypt and into Gaza, as we did see today as well, some connections and communications between Egypt and the Netherlands. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi with the Prime Minister of the Netherlands to be saying and stating that the aid convoys should be reaching the Gazans as soon as possible, and to be getting more information regarding the situation in Gaza and the Egyptian efforts regarding the political and the humanitarian levels. I am honored to be having with me in the studio for tonight Ambassador Sou'ad Shalaby, of course, the former Assistant Foreign Minister. Thank you very much for being with us tonight on the daily debate.
Thank you for inviting me.
Anytime. First of all, I would like to start with the top stories for today, the communications, the phone calls that are taking place between President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and the Qatari Emir Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. How would you see the efforts that took place and the coordination and the integration between Egypt and Qatar to be reaching a truce and an exchange of prisoners in Gaza?
Actually, since the beginning of this crisis, Egypt and Qatar have coordinated very closely in order to stop and have a humanitarian pause.
Yes.
But unfortunately, the ceasefire was not able to take place until the United States have entered into the negotiations, and also Hamas, of course, because the two are, and with Israel, of course, United States backs Israel all the time, and Hamas was able to reach a humanitarian truce and a temporary ceasefire, which Egypt and Qatar and United States have negotiated intensely, and it was very difficult, of course, to reach this truce, but fortunately with the diplomacy of our Egyptian leader and also all the different players in the region have played a very important role in order to impose this 4 days of ceasefire. The Israeli planes are not allowed to fly over Gaza, and they are not allowed to continue the atrocities that they have been doing during the past 7 weeks. So starting tomorrow, after the 4 days are over, what are we going to do? Israel is continuing on the same policy. They want to continue the war, but Egyptian president with the Qatari prime minister, they were both leaders were negotiating with the emir, and the president were negotiating how to continue this humanitarian truce in order to give the possibility for the civilians to move and for the humanitarian aid to be able to pass through the Rafah border to the Gazans.
Yes, you've mentioned that there are communications and coordination between the United States and Egypt as well, and we have seen today some communication between Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry and the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken. What does this say about the role and the political weight of Egypt in the region regarding solving such a catastrophe?
In fact, Egypt has played a very important role during this crisis.
Yes.
It has managed it perfectly well. It has gained the trust of all the regional partners and also the leaders of the world. You have seen in the past week, every day there has been leaders coming to Egypt to support the Egyptian role for supplying Gazans with humanitarian aid, medical aid, food, water, And now they are sending fuel. Now, finally, after long stop of fuel, which was very important at some point.
Yes.
Now they are passing 143,000 liters of diesel was passed, and also 4 trucks of gas, which is very important for domestic and for the hospitals to be able to manage. Also, there has been 1,264 trucks since the beginning of the crisis, and this is, of course, a very small number compared to what was happening every day. They used to pass 500 trucks every day to Gaza. So you can see that the blockage that the occupiers have done, the Israel have blocked Gaza before, and during the war it has even intensified the blockage, so that nothing was passing through one border, not all the borders with Gaza, but one border, which is Rafah, was opened for humanitarian aid.
Yes, Ambassador Sou'ad Shalaby, you've mentioned that the officials coming from all over the world. We have seen on Friday the prime ministers from Belgium and Spain. On Saturday, some officials, or the foreign minister of Slovenia, for example. Today, some calls and communications between the prime minister of the Netherlands and, of course, the U.S. Secretary of State as well. Regarding the humanitarian level, how does the rest of the world see the amount of the humanitarian aid that Egypt is passing through to Gaza, as statistically about 2/3 of the humanitarian aid that is going to Palestine and to Gaza is coming from Egypt?
From Egypt, yes, because Egypt has a very important position geopolitically and diplomatically.
Yes.
And of course the El Arish also airport played a very big role. The hospitals in Arish and in Sheikh Zayed, all these hospitals and medical supplies were very important for the role of Egypt in this crisis. So, as I say, it was not only diplomatically, all these calls and all these visits were supporting the role of Egypt, because it was really very hard for Egypt. From the beginning, we have stated very sharply that we are not going to accept the liquidation of the Palestinian problem. We are never going to let the Palestinians starve or be in need. We are going to supply them with humanitarian aid as long as they are not leaving their country. And they themselves, the Palestinians, declared that they are not going to leave Gaza. They are going to die in Gaza. They are going to liberate Gaza from the occupation. They are going to even go back. Those who have been living out of Gaza, they want to go back and join their compatriots in order to support the resistance, because this is a very national resistance, a very legitimate resistance in order to liberate their country.
Yes, the stance of Egypt and the political leadership represented by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi is that from day one, we would not be accepting the liquidation of the Palestinian cause, as well as not accepting the displacement of the Gazans from Gaza and into the neighboring countries, any neighboring country, Egypt, even Jordan. The King of Jordan has said so, Lebanon, and the statements were echoed by the U.S. President Joe Biden as well. What is the importance of having the same stance from the world leaders and, as you mentioned before, the biggest backer for Israel, the United States, regarding the future of the Gazans?
Well, in the beginning, they were, of course, taking the side of Israel, and Israel wanted to push the Palestinians from the north to the south and then to Sinai, because they wanted to demolish Hamas, and that was their idea of getting rid of Hamas by moving all the civilians out of Gaza.
Yes.
But when President Sisi stated in many conferences and even in the conference, the peace conference that was hosted by Egypt, he stated that we are never going to leave the Palestinians alone. We are going to be always supporting the Palestinians in order to regain their alienable rights. We don't accept that the Palestinians are dislocated and living in another country, even Jordan or any other country. They have to live in their country. There has to be a Palestinian state. There has to be a solution to the Palestinian cause, because unfortunately for years and years there has been a disappearance of even the name of Palestine in the news.
Yes.
So now everything is back to like the world has reached consensus that there has to be a solution to the Palestinian people. They have to have their rights. They have to go back to. They have to have an independent state, side by side with Israel. And Israel has to stop the occupation. It has to stop the expansion of settlement, the inhumane treatment of Palestinians. So all this has triggered what has happened. You know, for years there was no peace plan. There was nobody talking about the Palestinian rights. So that is why now it is the time to have a durable solution, so that we avoid this happening again, and we give the Palestinians the right to go back to their country.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you've mentioned that we need to be avoiding this situation to be happening again. President Sisi said that this has happened over the past 20 or 30 years, at least 5 to 6 times, resulting in about 27,000 deaths, mostly, or most of them are women and children. How can we be reaching the idea of not having the same situation once again?
Well, I'm very proud of the Palestinians, because they are so resilient, so patient, so strong in order to be able to resist all this destruction that happened in their country.
Yes.
But if we have a permanent, a durable solution, then the youth will have a hope, at least for them. If we promise to reconstruct Gaza, if we have a two-state solution, if we respect the Al-Aqsa Mosque, if we respect those who pray on Fridays and every day, if they are respected, those who go to pray, all these things have to be negotiated with Israel before, after the war. As an aftermath of the war, there has to be a durable solution. There has to be a respect for the Palestinian people. They are not to be treated inhumanely. So if we are looking at a durable solution, these are the conditions. They have to respect the international law, the international humanitarian law. They have to respect the resolutions of the Security Council, of the General Assembly. The whole world, you have seen how much the public opinion, whether it is in the media, in the social media, even in the demonstrations, in all the capitals in the world, they were all supporting the Palestinians to have their right, to regain their right, and to stop killing of women and children, because those women and children who have suffered so much during the past 7 weeks, they have to be treated humanely. They have to have a place to live. They have to know that there is a future for them and for their children.
But for all those ideas that you've mentioned, do you think that there is leniency on the other side, the Israeli side, to be accepting any of them?
Well, for the time being, of course, they will not accept, because they are they have been put in a situation that they want to save their face. They were ashamed of what happened on the 7th of October.
Yes.
Everybody was talking about how big is the technology and how big is the information system of
it's the same rumors of 1973.
Rumors, yeah, of 1973, and
yes.
then so they wanted to save their face. That is why, but collective punishment and carpet bombing are not going to help. Even the security of Israel is in question now. You know, like this generation that is now going to be revenging. If they are bombing, then there is never going to be peace with Israel, because those children who have seen their parents dying and their sisters and brothers dying in front of them, they have to revenge. So how are we going to really treat the coming generation and teach them peace with Israel?
Yes.
This is why I'm surprised that Israel is continuing this bombardment and this devastating war for nothing, for just killing civilians, women and children. What is it about? You know, like, what is the reason for all these killings?
The security of Israel is at stake, on the other hand, and more importantly, do you think that they have the economic power to be continuing such a war, such an aggression on Gaza?
I don't think that even the international community is going to support Israel for continuing this kind of collateral punishment.
Yes.
And civilians who don't have anything to do. They were not even supporting Hamas at the beginning. Not all Palestinians support Hamas. So why get rid of all those people for nothing? You know, like bombing hospitals and ambulances. And there had been more than 50 plus press people died. You know, like just they were, and they had their vests on. And this is against the international humanitarian law to bomb, even if there are terrorists. If they believe that these are terrorists, they yes. shouldn't bombard them. They should detain them. And this truce and humanitarian pause, it was made mainly for the detainees, because the detainees have been asking their governments. There has been from all kinds of governments, even from Thailand, there were detainees,
yes.
and Hamas has
hostages, yes.
has treated the hostages very well, and this is why it has played with this card in order to liberate the prisoners who were in the jails and who were detained for nothing, you know, like were kept in the prisons of Israel for nothing. They have not been questioned.
So what is next? Following the end of the truce, following the exchange of prisoners and hostages from both sides, what is next by Israel? What is next for Hamas? What is next even for the international community and the political efforts that are ongoing around the clock by Egypt, by the neighboring countries, by the regional powers?
Well, we have to hope. We have to hope that the humanitarian truce continues. We have to have some hope that that Israel have some logic in dealing with this crisis, and to stop this bombardment of civilians. We have to ask all the international community, the United States, we have to push the United States to pressure Israel to stop, because with the relationship between Qatar, United States and Egypt, there has to be a move towards pressuring Israel to stop. the whole of the international community, the whole of the region. You have seen Saudi Arabia has hosted a big conference of 58 countries, Muslim,
Yes.
Arab countries. All these countries have to pressure Israel and to pressure the world in order to stop and have a permanent ceasefire, and to start reconstructing Gaza, start having homes for those people who are stranded, who don't know where they are going to live after the war is over. There are people, can you believe it, that there are Palestinians who want to go back to Gaza
Yes.
now, and they want to support their families.
And they were warned by Israel not to do so.
Yeah, it's really unbelievable. I'm really very proud of their courage and their resilience.
Yes,
especially the women.
Yes, Ambassador Sou'ad Shalaby will be turning to the other report of the daily debate for tonight, as we will be seeing in the upcoming report the humanitarian aid convoy, the biggest of its kind from Egypt, enters into Gaza. As I said in the beginning, that the diplomatic efforts and the humanitarian efforts by Egypt are going around the clock to be solving the situation in Gaza as soon as possible. We'll be having more details regarding such a topic in the upcoming report, so stay tuned.
He gave the green light for the largest humanitarian aid convoy organized by Egypt to head to Gaza. During the Long Live Egypt to Support Palestinians, a mega event held at Cairo International Stadium. The aid convoy is organized by Egypt's National Alliance for Civil Development Work. It consists of more than 500 trucks loaded with 8,950 tons of medicines, food, clothes and blankets destined for Palestine. The convoy headed to Rafah border crossing to deliver aid to the people of Gaza. Over 15,000 volunteers from all Egyptian governorates have participated in this initiative. The total number of humanitarian relief and medical aid convoys received by the Palestinian side from the National Alliance for Civil Development Work since the beginning of the Israeli aggression on Gaza Strip reached about 395 trucks. Various entities from the National Alliance participated in these convoys, including Decent Life Presidential Initiative Food Bank, Orman Association, Risala Association, Life Makers Foundation, Misr Al Khair Foundation, Ahl Misr Foundation, and Bahia Foundation, and Mustafa Mahmoud Association, and others. Meanwhile, Egypt has received 5 planes carrying humanitarian aid for Gaza from Russia, Oman, UAE, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia at Al Arish Airport on Saturday. Also on Saturday, 7 fuel trucks, 4 loaded with cooking gas and 3 with diesel, entered the strip through Rafah border crossing. According to the head of the Egyptian Red Crescent branch in North Sinai, the 3 diesel trucks carry 130,000 liters of fuel. The ERC also announced that 100 humanitarian aid trucks entered Gaza along with the fuel trucks. On Friday, the first day of Israel-Hamas truce, Egypt received 3 humanitarian aid planes from Jordan, Saudi Arabia, and Oman at Al Arish Airport.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Daily Debate, and I am honored to be having with me in the studio for tonight Ambassador Sou'ad Shalaby, the former Assistant Foreign Minister. Thank you very much for being with us tonight on the Daily Debate. We have seen over the past years, under the tenure of President Assisi, assistance, political assistance, and of course humanitarian assistance given to Palestine, Libya, Sudan, more recently Iraq, and all the neighboring countries, most of the regional and neighboring countries. The international community, how can the international community be supporting and backing Egypt for its role in supporting the neighboring countries now?
Well, we are leaders in the region, and this is a very important issue for us, and we have to stand by our Palestinians, brothers and sisters, and And we feel that there are a lot also of families who are married, like Egyptian Palestinians.
Yes.
So Egypt has been always helping the Palestinians ever since they were bombarded by Israel. Since the past intifadas, when there were 4 intifadas. And the last time I remember, we pledged $500 million for the reconstruction of Gaza, and this was given to the reconstruction companies. It
Yes.
was made mainly for infrastructure. So whenever Egypt supplies humanitarian aid, it is for the benefit of the civilians, and for building hospitals and building houses and building medical centers, and also all the humanitarian aid that we have heard about, all these trucks, they were facilitated by the Egyptian border. It was opened for 24 hours. All the international aid came to Rafah, came to Al Arish and to Rafah by trucks and even by ships.
Yes.
So it was, Egypt has played a very important role, and I have seen in the report how the Red Cross, the Red Crescent of Egypt helped together with all the humanitarian agencies in the United Nations. They have also coordinated so well, the Red Crescent with the Red Cross, and they have, in order to bring the hostages also to the borders, and also to supply the fuel and to all those places in Gaza which are in great need of these humanitarian aid that was passing through. So I think they are looking up to Egypt. All the regional leaders and the international leaders, they are looking up to Egypt for the role that it has played during this crisis, and hopefully that we continue to do this during the next couple of months in order to revitalize the Gazan population, and to bring them back to life after they passed through a dramatic and difficult situation.
The idea of a ceasefire, of course, was floated around by Egypt and other regional powers, and the US as well. But the Israeli side has rebuffed it altogether before the truce. Do you think that there is a bigger percentage of accepting such a ceasefire following the truce by the Israelis?
Yeah, from my point of view, Israel is not gaining. It's on the contrary, it's losing, because those settlements who were around in the buffer of Gaza, they have been relocated, and they are causing a lot of economic problems for Israel. Also, Israel's position in the world and its image in the world is not very good now after what has happened. So it needs to at least make it look good, so that it can be appreciated, or it can be accepted in the international community.
Yes.
So if we go to the UN, then the United States has to accept what the international community is asking, which is ceasefire, and the international community wants to impose the ceasefire right away. And after this truce, there should not be any back to the stage 1, which is the bombardments of civilians. So United States has a big role in pressuring Israel not to go back to the same stage of war. And I think even the Biden administration now, and Biden in his even speeches have been repeating the same position of President Sisi. He was saying no relocation of Palestinians, no killing of civilians. The Palestinians have to have their own state side by side and live peacefully with Israel. So how can the United States have this position and at the same time it's not stopping Israel from the war? So I think that after this humanitarian truce, there will be a different position of all those players in the region.
Yes, and now more than ever, a very important question. When can we be having a unified Palestinian front, the real Palestinian or the Palestinian reconciliation, of course, with Egyptian mediation, as we have seen the efforts of Egypt over the past years?
Yes, of course, Egypt has played also a big role before because there were Palestinian factions, and this has not helped has not helped them take a unified position.
Yes.
So that is why Egypt has played a role in order to let Hamas and Islamic Jihad to accept the Palestinian Authority, because after all, if we are looking for a two-state solution, which is Gaza and the West Bank, and so there has to be a leader, one leader for both, one Palestinian leader who all the Palestinians are accepting and who they will vote for, and who will bring them to the peaceful solution to live peacefully beside Israel. If we are doing this job, like Egypt is playing this role, then I think it is going to happen in the future, that they will get together and they will all have a unified position.
Yes, and finally, the Egyptian efforts to be solving the situation in Gaza nowadays. What is next? Continue the role of mediation, continue the role of, even more than the mediation, partners of peace solution, initiating peace initiatives and putting on the table different initiatives that can be accepted by the Palestinians. And it all goes back to the Palestinians and what they want. There has to be a democratic process. There has to be like a hope for the future of the Palestinians, politically, diplomatically, socially, everything. They have to have a hope for the future in order to be able to live. They don't have life now, so let's all try to give them back their lives. Providing hope. Ambassador Sou'ad Shalaby, the former Assistant Foreign Minister, thank you very much for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
Anytime. And this brings us to the end of the Daily Debate for tonight. Thank you for watching and goodbye.